2 weeks ago, you might have seen this video. I kid you not, everyone with a camera was at Grand Central today. And that was me understating it. Yes, when Grand Central Madison opened, I had expected press to be there, maybe a vlogger or two. But every corner I turned, there seemed to be a person with a camera. It was as if B&H came to Grand Central to demo all their cameras and gimbals. There was even a person, I kid you not, had a vintage accordion camera. This opening was such a big deal that it even made the Swiss news. So why is Grand Central Madison such a big deal? What does this mean for New York City? And where exactly is Grand Central Madison in the scheme of everything? And that is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Urban Caffeine. My name is Thea and you're watching a channel that breaks down urban life in New York City. So subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss future videos. And also, hit that like button. Let's start by talking about the layout of it all. Grand Central Terminal is located on 42nd and smack in the middle of Park Avenue, next to the Summit or One Vanderbilt, the Chrysler Building, the MetLife Building, and not too far from Bryant Park. There's a lot going on with this building. There are shops, restaurants, and there are even tennis courts. But we're not going to go over all the amenities of this building. That is not what this video is for. This video is all about the trains. Grand Central Terminal, Grand Central Station, and Grand Central Madison can all be accessed through this building, but they each reference different commuter lines. Grand Central Terminal is actually the building itself. There are several ways to enter this building. You can enter it through the front on 42nd Street, on the side here, and on the side here. This side entrance is all the way over at Lexington Avenue because this building, which is the Hyatt, is somewhat flush to the Grand Central Terminal building. On the map, it looks like there's a separating street here that runs from Park Avenue. There is. It's a ramp that runs cars along the balcony level of Grand Central building. Grand Central also has direct access to MetLife and the Hyatt, and there are also tunnels to these 5 blocks, the Chrysler, and the Gray Bar building. And there are also entrances at 47th and Madison and 48th and Park. With how complex the Grand Central Terminal building is, I'm probably missing some entrances. So if you know some, comment down below. As far as the trains go, the tracks used by the Metro North trains are underground north of it. And you access the tracks and platforms through the main concourse of the building. The tracks used to be exposed, but as Manhattan got more and more dense, the tracks were covered up by the city. Fun fact, at one point they wanted to build a skyscraper on top of the building. Of course, New York had a fit over this. Even Lady Kennedy put her weight into the matter. You may or may not be familiar with this famous interior. I mean, it's only ever been in half 100 movies. But when you're in the main concourse, you'll have departure boards on one side and entrances to the tracks on the other. And it's through here you get to the tracks. If you go down one level to the dining concourse, there will be more entrances to the tracks. This is because there are 2 levels of train tracks for the Metro North trains. Grand Central Station is an underground subway station just south of Grand Central Terminal. It's serviced by the 7 train from Queens and the 456 to and from the Bronx and Brooklyn. This subway station in reality has many entrances along the street, but some of them tunnel into Grand Central Terminal building, giving direct access to the Metro North. So where is Grand Central Madison? When you're inside Grand Central Terminal, if you go down to the lower concourse, you will find escalators pointing you to the Madison concourse. The Madison concourse spans 5 blocks underground. There's another access point outside of Grand Central Terminal, and there are also street elevators. I could be missing some, but you get the idea. And the concourse is parallel to Madison Avenue. If you haven't gathered by now, the name Grand Central Madison is in relation to Madison Avenue. However, the tracks and platform of the LIRR are all the way over here, and not only that, They are several dozen feet below the double-decker tracks of the Metro North. This is because of the logistics when it came to blasting these tunnels open. If it were higher, it would interrupt the service of the Metro North during construction. Since these tunnels are so far down, there are long escalators that lead passengers to the tracks and platforms. These escalators are currently the longest in the city. But if you hate escalators as much as I do, they do have elevators. Just like Grand Central Terminal's main concourse has departure boards and ticket agents, Grand Central Madison also has an area for these amenities. And just like Grand Central Terminal has food and retail shops, Grand Central Madison will also have some along the concourse. But why indeed? I can give you 4 reasons. Prior to today, Penn Station was the only LIRR station in Manhattan. And this was terrible, because if you were traveling from Long Island to Manhattan, your only option was to arrive at Penn Station. It turns out about half of the commuters on the LIRR actually need to get to the Grand Central area. This is mostly for work because a lot of businesses, and a lot of them are corporate businesses, are located in the area near Grand Central Terminal. And that was a problem because there was no direct connection between Penn Station and Grand Central. Your options were either 2 subway rides or a 20-minute walk. I don't know about you, but I think neither are good options for a daily commute. By having the option to arrive directly at Grand Central, this saves commuters 30 to 45 minutes of travel time, and if they were paying for the subway before, that's an annual savings of roughly $1,300. Just imagine saving 45 minutes on your commute. Think of what you can do with an extra 30 to 45 minutes of life. Think of the sleep that you'll get. As mentioned earlier, trains going to and from the north, which are part of the Metro North Railroad, terminate at Grand Central. Since Penn Station for a while was the only station of the LIRR in Manhattan, if you wanted to travel like this, you would have needed to switch at Penn Station. But now, with Grand Central Madison, people can easily transfer between the LIRR and Metro North. And since about half of the commuters using the LIRR will go to Grand Central, that reduces the burden at Penn Station, giving it capacity to take on trains heading north. This public works project is underway and is called the Penn Station Access. It will extend the Metro North line to Penn Station, making it quicker to get to the Bronx. When this project will be complete can be anyone's guess. Grand Central Madison was decades in the making. Conversations started around the 1950s, maybe the 1960s, and construction only happened within the last 15 years. And the construction alone took 15 years. But you know what? Penn Station Access is a different project with a different set of circumstances than that of Grand Central Madison. So it's hard to compare the two. But knowing how New York is New York, and after reading this book, it's gonna take a while. And lastly, one of the top 10 largest airports in the country will have more commute options into the city. If you've seen this video I made, which is linked in the description, I listed all the options to get from JFK to Manhattan. One of the options was the LIRR to Penn Station. While the LIRR is a fast option, once you get to Penn Station, you still have to figure out how to get from Penn Station to your final destination. If you use the subway, your options are the ACE and 123. With the added option of Grand Central, suddenly you have access to the 4, 5, 6, and 7 trains. There are criticisms out there on Grand Central Madison, like the number of tracks, the lack of seats, and the height of the tunnels. I'm not one to criticize because after reading this book and watching this movie, I've come to understand that there's more to the story of how something is built versus the actual product that we see. And this goes the same for products on the market, YouTube videos, ads that we see on TV. There's a lot that goes into any project that viewers don't see in the end. What I do know is that this station is going to be a game changer for a lot of people using the Long Island Railroad. And it's a step towards improving public transportation in general for millions of people. Yes, it took $11 billion and almost 15 years to finish, but considering New York is not Europe, this is a big win. Besides, the more and more we keep making infrastructure like this, the cheaper and less time-consuming it becomes. That's because we gain construction and operational knowledge with every project finished, because hopefully we learn from our mistakes. So that's something to think about. If you want my commentary on this video and personal vlogs about New York City, I post not once, but twice a week on Patreon. So check out patreon.com/Urban Caffeine. Thank you to all current Patreons for your continued support. Until next time, thank you so much for watching and happy New Yorking.